Hey folks, it's your boy D here, and I wanted to talk about the PlayStation 5 event that's happening tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I know we had to wait an extra week, but you know what? It'll be well worth it. So, the thing I wanted to discuss about is obviously Sony's going to talk about the PS5 review. Hopefully, it's not about the solid state drives. Hopefully, it's not just about the DualSense controller, but actually the consoles. And even better yet, maybe, show us some of the games that they're going to release. So, the purpose of this video is kind of to give my thoughts, my predictions on what's going to come out for the PS5. Uh, there's going to be some low-hanging fruit, some obvious ones, but I'm going to throw a few zingers in there, from my wish list, things that I would like to see in the upcoming PlayStation 5. Maybe the folks out there at Sony will indulge me. Who knows? But anyway, let's get going. So obviously, it's coming out. Folks are debating on whether or not, there's going to be a price on it. Some saying there will, some saying there won't. Before I get to that, I feel Sony has been kind of sitting back, letting Microsoft, do their little bragging points. Uh, talking about, the smart delivery and, the, you know, umpteen number of teraflops. And granted, the Xbox Series X is supposed to be a more powerful system, but I think it could be well agreed upon that the PlayStation 4 just had better games for its system as opposed to that Microsoft having games for the Xbox One. So anyway, I think while Microsoft has been talking and talking, Sony has just been kind of sitting back, going, okay, once we announce the PS5, we're gonna drop the hammer, drop the mic, and the world is gonna go, okay, Sony, you're gonna win this one, or at least you'll be in a head start. So at least that's what I'm feeling. We had that incredibly awful tech demo, a month or so ago, where they touted the solid state drive and, minimal load times, and that's all nice and dandy. I actually don't notice load times much anymore. The games I play, a lot of the loading is done in the background, where there's other things going on. It's done very subtly. There's, obviously there's sometimes that's a little bit more often than others, but all in all, it doesn't bother me that much. I've been gaming for many years, and you want to talk about loading times? Let's talk the PS1, where you had to sit there for quite a few minutes for things to load. So things are pretty good. But anyway, solid state drive, no loading times. That's perfectly fine. But we haven't really heard much about anything else. And I personally think that Sony is going to drop some big names as far as games that are going to come out. So let's talk about the first ones, the obvious ones. First, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I think that's pretty obvious. The first one came out a few years ago. I have yet to play it. I do own it. Just my backlog just keeps me busy. But one day I will get to it. You know, that's just how things are. But I'll get to it. But one thing I have heard is that it's a very, very well done game and a very fun game. So that's why, I bought it. But one thing a lot of people have been looking for is the sequel. And I'm pretty sure the folks at Sony have been working on it, been keeping quiet on it. Second, and I think this goes without saying, is I think we're going to see an announcement for the second game of Spider-Man. Now, this is another game that I do own, and I have yet to actually play it. I played it for a few minutes one time just to see how it was, and the few minutes I did play, I enjoyed. But so far, everybody else that I've talked to that didn't play Horizon Zero Dawn, that did play Spider-Man, absolutely loved Spider-Man. And so the folks at Insomniac, they're excellent developers. I believe they did the Ratchet and Clank series, the games I personally love. So, Spider-Man 2's given. And one thing I've noticed over the past few years that Sony has always been in love with the Spider-Man franchise ever since they got it many years ago. But I think they finally decided that if they took the time to give it a little bit of love and care, that they can actually put out some good stuff. And they've had some decent wins lately. We've had the movies. We've had, Homecoming and Far From Home with Tom Holland, and they worked their deal out with Disney, and even had a little falling out, but got back into it. But we've had some wins on the movie side, including Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Venom, and I think a lot of people are excited about Morbius. And they knocked it out of the park with the Spider-Man video game. So I think they're realizing that the world loves Spider-Man, almost as much or even more than Batman. But we like good superhero video games, and you take the time and do things right. We as customers will reciprocate and put down our money to buy it. So I honestly think we're going to hear something about a new Spider-Man. Maybe not come out this year, may not be a launch title, but I think it's been well under the radar. Well, obviously it's been under the radar, but I think it's been well in the works for at least the past year or so. After the first Spider-Man was announced, I think they already moved on to a sequel. Uh, so those were the obvious ones for me. The ones that may not be so obvious, but in the realm of reality, first is probably a new God of War. Um, it came out 2 years ago. Was it 2018? So we're right in that time to where they take some time off after the last one gets released. It got critically acclaimed, won a bunch of awards, and after about 6 months, you start on another one. So we're right at that year and a half, almost 2 year mark of development time. You say, hey, we got another God of War coming out, within the next year. That's a 3 year development time. Seems to me like that's within the realm of possibility to have another God of War. I'm a huge fan of God of War. I have the game for the PS4 again. I actually played it again. I started playing it, and once again I stopped, and I have to get back into it. But I really, really enjoyed the part that I played. So, guys, if you want to know all the list of games that I started and yet to finish, we'll be here all night. So we'll just keep moving on. But people also really enjoy the God of War series. Um, just on a side note, I did finish the first three, so I will finish this one day. Anyway, I think that is within the realm of possibility, and I think there was a article out there by the folks at Games Radar saying that Sony Santa Monica has announced that they are part of the announcement in some way, shape, or form at the reveal tomorrow. So let's keep our fingers crossed for another God of War. Maybe a cool collector's edition out there, guys. Hopefully a limited edition console. I already have the PS4 one. Love it. Anyway, moving on. Another one that is probably on a low chance of reality, but I would like to see, and I think this would be a good announcement for the PS5, is a new entry into the Uncharted series. Now, granted, a lot of people have complained about what's going on with The Last of Us Part 2. I really haven't delved into that too much because I haven't played the first game. Big surprise there. But I am a fan of the Uncharted series. I've played all of them, all four of the main ones, and the side story with Chloe and the other lady. I forget her name. With the brother Sam. What was that, like Lost Legacy or something like that? Beat that one too. Big surprise. Uh, but that goes to show how much I really like the Uncharted series. So right there, if they can make an announcement with and somewhere in the Uncharted series, because I firmly believe Last of Us has been done for probably up to, I would say, maybe a year now. Um, it kept getting delayed and kept getting delayed, but I firmly believe that has something to do with, business decisions. We had the pandemic, uh, and it may be some fine tuning here and there, but I would say probably 90% of the game was done for quite some time now. The game has been in development for a long time, so I think probably at Naughty Dog they've been working on something else, and it may not have to be the fifth entry into the Uncharted series with Nathan Drake, although I would prefer it. But just anything in that universe would be on the realm of awesomeness. So if they announce something for Uncharted, boom, it's a sale for me. So, but that makes a perfect segue into some of the announcements that I would really like for them to announce, but it's on the realm of low chances. But I'm going to go say it anyway. So I said it before. The folks at Insomniac, if those that aren't working on the Spider-Man game, you guys can throw us another Ratchet and Clank, guys. I've played the Ratchet and Clank games back on the PS2 days. I loved them. I thought they were a lot of fun. I played some of them on the PS3, and I even played the reboot. I think it was on the either PS3 or PS4. I can't remember. And I had fun with that one. And I would like to see something new, but throw it there on the PS5. Another series that I would like to have brought back out, and folks at Naughty Dog, you know what I'm talking about. Bring back Jak and Daxter. Come on, that would be massive. I played all three. I beat all three. Yes, I actually beat some games. That just goes to show how much I beat all the Uncharted. I beat all the Jak and Daxters. I'm a Naughty Dog fanboy. I didn't play Last of Us. Those clickers just unnerve me. Anyway, so moving on. Those would be my absolute wish list right there. We've heard some other ramblings, a Silent Hill, maybe timed exclusive for Resident Evil 8. I think they've got some things in the works, and I think they're gonna surprise all of us. Now I could be completely wrong, but I think they've got it. Now the biggest surprise, and I kind of held this on to the last of the end of the video, is I think this would be a complete surprise here, and I'm gonna say in just a moment, is full blown backwards compatibility. And I'm not talking PS4, I'm talking about every previous console. And that's even including the PS3. Now, I've heard from many people, watched many videos that said that one of the hardest things about the PS3 was its architecture with the cell processor and all that kind of jazz. And I delve in computers, but I'm far from a computer engineer. I'm far from a computer guru, so I could not say whether it's true or not. But you hear it enough times, so you tend to take your word for it. But I've heard that the PS3 was incredibly difficult to program for, difficult to emulate, which is probably why we don't see very decent emulators out there. But I think a good showstopper for the PS5 is full backwards compatibility for all previous systems. I literally have a stack of PS3 games here that I have yet to play, simply because the PS3s I have are I can't get a hold of them right now. I do have the original fat one that came out, way back in the early 2000s, and that thing is just about to die. I think it has some type of a heating issue. I do have a PSP Slim, but I only have so much, desk space, and I don't have, 20 TVs. So, having all my, PlayStation standing here, next to each other just wouldn't be feasible. But if I had a PS5 that played everything in it, and it's disc based, it will have a disc drive, so I can throw my disc in there, boom, I'm good to go. And what would be even better is if I can port over my digital games from my PS3 library. I think that's been one of my biggest disappointments with the PS4 is that I bought a lot of those digital games for the PS3 and I couldn't move them over for the PS4, and a lot of those games the PS4 could play, but Sony wanted me to buy them again. And I don't think that's good business practice. Good for them, but not for the consumer. I think if we've already paid for it once, we should be able to continue to play it. And that's why a lot of people are applauding Microsoft with their smart delivery system. Anyway, that would be my biggest showstopper there for the PS5. If they announced all those other games that I mentioned earlier, as well as full blown backwards compatibility, I think they would be able to take the crown for the next generation of consoles. Anyway, I've rambled enough as it is. I'm already hitting the 16-minute mark, but I wanted to get your guys' opinions on thoughts and predictions on the PS5 event. I will try to give my thoughts on the event after the fact, because I won't be able to do a live stream, and chances are you guys will be watching somebody else, and that's perfectly fine. I'll get there one day. But in the meantime, if you watch this video and you actually listen to me ramble the entire time, give me your thoughts on the PS5 reveal. What do you think is going to be announced? And what's on your wish list? Do you want to see a new Wild Arms? Do you want to see a new Legend of Dragoon? Let me know. Post in the comments below. Do you want to see an announcement for Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode 2 exclusive to the PS5? I don't know. We're just spitballing. Do you want to see a new Legend of Legaia or Breath of Fire? Anything's open. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation going on. Name something that we haven't seen in a while. There's plenty of games out there that, hey, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, the new Spyro or a new Crash Bandicoot. Do you think Sunset Overdrive? I doubt it because, Microsoft probably owns that one, even though Insomniac did it. We don't know how that whole situation works. Anyway, post it in the comments below. I want to know what you think, what's going to be announced at the PS5 event. And if you guys could do me a favor, you can hit that subscribe button and help me get to 150 subscribers. And I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.